Goods received, recording batch numbers against goods received. This video will show you how to record batch numbers against stock or contract items received on a goods received note. Although it may seem rather overkill recording batch numbers for items, it will help immensely with traceability for BIM or OMM. Should a fault arise with a particular product, you'll be able to locate all the items on different contracts that have an item with the same batch number. And this is easily done by using the batch code traceability report, where you simply enter the batch required code and the system will give a detailed report of all the items received, available and used, and on what contract and items they were used on. So first of all, we need to do our goods received note against the purchase order for the items. So I have a purchase order 228 with some door closers that we ordered. So I ordered 10. So I've received 10, but then I need to record the batches that we've got those against. So I can then go to add new batch. You'll notice here that this little box changed from delivery items as soon as I put the batch code indicator on there. So I then simply click add batch. By default, it will put 10. That's the amount delivered. So I can put the batch code in for this. So it might be that we've received 3 different batches for these items. So I might have gone DC333, we'll keep the code fairly straightforward. Best before date is not applicable in this instance, but then we didn't actually have 10 on that batch code, we had 5. So I type 5, and then when I hit the tab key, you'll see it instantly says the next batch will be 5 because we've got 10 to equate to. So again, it might not have been 10, it might have been a lesser amount, but I put the code in, so it'd be DC, let's say 303, but on that batch, we only had 3. So now I've got 2 remaining. So we'll say this batch was DC 003, and we'll leave that at 2. So once we've entered all the batch numbers against that item, I need to obviously put a delivery note number in. RJS, let's say 1212, and then I can enter the delivery. But before that, I want to print the barcode labels for this. So I'm just going to preview on screen so that we've got them to hand. So the system will produce a batch label for each of those batches, and it will produce the number required. Because I previewed on screen, it's only obviously printed the 1 for that. So they will be printed onto the various labels, and then they could be applied to the actual product, then put on the shelf ready to be dispatched as and when required. So once we've done that, we can then enter that delivery. Not going to worry about printing a goods received note. Now, if I look at the stock for that item, so view material stock, so if we say it was the door closer, HAF 201, actually it was, let's just check what code it was, 2. So you can now see that I've got the batches entered into there. So I've got 5 with batch 333, 3 with the DC 303, and 2 with DC 003. So I can then start issuing those from stock as and when required. So if we close that, and now we issue those to a contract. So we're going to issue materials, stores, or contract. So we then say who we're issuing them to. and then the contract number. So I'm going to supply 1 to contract 135, and it's the first floor reception area. So I scan the code, and then I scan the actual product code, the batch label. So if I go to the batch label, or I want to use the 003 code, I just need to make that a little bit bigger so I can scan it off the screen. Obviously, this label will have been fixed to the product you're dispatching. So I then scan the code, and then you can see that it's entered it into there. So I can then issue that to the contract. We get our transaction sheet. This transaction sheet has a barcode for the actual item, so that should the item be returned, it wasn't used, we can scan that barcode and put the item back into the stock, and it will know what the batch number is and what cost it was allocated to our job cost. So I want to enter another item to a contract. So I'll scan contract 189. Then scan the code. So we'll scan the same item. So we've got this out of stores with the label. Scan the item, and it goes. Now we only had 2 of those items in the batch. So if I was to scan more, so if I misscanned or I keep scanning the same label, the system will alert me that there's scan more items are available because I've already scanned that. So it won't let you overscan the same batch code. So I now issue that to the contract. Let's move back there a bit so we can see. So again, we get the transaction note for that. Now let's see what that's done in our stock system first of all. If we look at DC 002, you can see now that the batch of 2 for 003 has now gone. It's no longer available. If I look at the stock movement, you can see there that the jobs that they were issued to, and also the batch codes that were used. So that's how we can view that from the stock side of things. If I then look at the actual contract, so if we look at contract 189, to our bill items, and then look for item 5 that we issued against the new reception door. You'll see now that we've got the door closer with the item code, but also if I move along now, I can see the batch code that was entered against. So we've got full traceability within the item there. And then if I actually wanted full traceability of the batch of items, so say there was an issue with this particular batch of door closers, and I wanted to see what contracts and what items we've used that on, I can go to departments, production, stock control, and then item material traceability, type in the batch code that's in question. So this was DC 003. And then the system will show me all the details of that. So I can see it was received from a GRN and the purchase order and the date. I have none available to use because there was only 2 in that batch. And then I can see the contracts that they were used on. So I can see there was contract 135 and it was the bill item number 2, and similarly 189, and it was item number 5. So by taking the time to enter these batch codes, probably for the larger items that you're using on a contract, we get a good traceability should there be any issues of that. Again, if I go back to the contract and then go to the OMM/BIM area, we can then see all the items that we've issued with the batch code on that. So everything is reporting back to the contract as well as back to the material library. And that's all there is to using the batch codes within contract control and the GRN notes.